Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And some very interesting new developments about this weekend. It looks like the SAA versus the Bulls game has all but been confirmed, as well as the official announcement of two more cancelled Currie Cup games and an announcement of what will happen with the points from the game that was also cancelled between the Lions and the Sharks last weekend. Before we dissect this and look at what this means for the Currie Cup, please do smash like the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Right, so we'll start with the Bulls, or we'll start with the Currie Cup, shall we? Two matches have been cancelled this weekend with the Currie Cup. First of all, the Sharks versus Pumas match, which was scheduled to happen in Durban on Friday, has been, of course, cancelled as a result of all the action on Friday. It's a decision that had to be made. I think that, it's not even a case of, could they play the game in Nelspruit. I think given what's happening in the country, given what's happening especially in Natal, you cannot put our players in any sort of risk or in any compromising situation. It's very difficult for the Sharks players as it is. I'm sure it must be very difficult to train if they are training. What's going on down there? Haven't had too much out of that camp, but to be sort of expect them to be able to first of all try and play this weekend, or else maybe sort of travel away from their families during this sort of time. It really was no way that this game was going to go ahead at all. So that game has officially been called off, as has the game between the Griquas versus the Bulls. And if there was ever a sign that sort of confirmed that the South Africa A were taking on the Bulls, well, that's it, isn't it? We've had no official confirmation that match is going to take place in terms of timing, in terms of what will happen, but it has been confirmed that game is off. And then, obviously, we knew that the Sharks versus the Lions game was called off 2 weeks ago. So, what's actually happened? Or last weekend when the Lions played the Sharks 2.0 basically. So what's actually happened is that they have decided that every single one of those teams will receive 4 log points. The Lions will receive 4 log points. The Sharks will receive 8 log points across 2 matches. The Pumas will receive 4 log points, and the Griquas will receive 4 log points, which I think is the fair way to do. I think it's a very strange situation, and it does kind of compromise the Currie Cup in terms of the integrity of the competition. But playing competition in COVID times for a start are not normal conditions. They are extraordinary conditions. Then we've got what's currently happening in the country. And Currie Cup is the last of our worries in terms of what's happening. People are losing their lives. People are losing their livelihoods. It really are some really ugly scenes down in Natal and Gauteng. So, it really isn't a major thing. But and then in terms of the British and Irish Lions having to play against an opponent, the Bulls not being able to be there, it's not the Bulls' fault. These things happen. Georgia versus Scotland was cancelled. There were outbreaks in the Scottish camp as well as the Georgian camp. There are lots of games being called off all over the place, in different sporting codes as well. It's not just a case of, the Bulls can't do it. Lots of teams are struggling with this sort of situation. So it was inevitable that something was going to happen. And as a result, the Sharks stepped in. But, just as much that the Lions shouldn't be penalised because they had a team that was going to take on the Sharks. The Sharks shouldn't be penalised for doing something for the greater good of the tour, stepping in and making themselves available to play against the British and Irish Lions. So I think it's fair. I think it's a fair way to go. I think 0 points makes it quite difficult. Suddenly it's as if these games didn't exist, and for the Sharks to have 0 out of potential 8 or potential 10 actually against Pumas and the Lions, 2 teams they would have thought they could get something out. Would have been very, very harsh. So the good news is that Lions versus Cheetahs will still take place in Johannesburg this weekend, which is interesting because obviously Ellis Park is in the middle of the CBD, and there have been issues sort of that side of town, but they're confident at this stage that they should be able to have no issues and stuff like that. Hopefully everything calms down by the weekend, and we will have Currie Cup action. In terms of timing, my guess would be that the Sigma Lions and Choice Cheetahs game will be moved forward to about 12:30 or 1 o'clock kickoff. I then think it will probably see a 3 or 4 o'clock kickoff for the SAA versus the Bulls. And then we will have the Stormers versus the Lions at 6. Alternatively, you could leave the Lions versus Cheetahs. It's supposed to be 2:45, and then you could have a 5 o'clock kickoff for the SAA versus Bulls, and then an 8 o'clock kickoff for Stormers versus the British and Irish Lions. I think that in terms of if it's going to be shown, I want to imagine it'll be shown. I'm sure it'll be shown, the SAA versus Bulls game. And so that could be the case. They might even play at the same stadium. They could do a case of British and Irish Lions, Bulls versus SAA, 5 o'clock Cape Town, and then at 8 o'clock Cape Town, same thing, or 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock. We could do something similar to that. So there's been no confirmation in terms of time, in terms of the fact that the match is going to go ahead, but we know it is going to go ahead. The fact that match has been cancelled, there was no reason to cancel Griquas versus Bulls, other than if the Bulls were not going to be in Cape Town. We've had nothing about COVID cases from either squads. It was all set to go ahead. Apparently the Bulls will travel. I don't quite know why there hasn't been any confirmation or anything more about it. But it pretty much has been confirmed. So we'll communicate what's going to happen in terms of time and stuff like that as it happens. But we cannot confirm that it's all been confirmed. We can also confirm that those 2 Currie Cup games are definitely off, and that's how those points will be awarded. Which I think is fine. I'm not going to go too much into it. I'm not going to read TV. I think it's been a fantastic Currie Cup. I've really, really enjoyed it. I'm very sad that we won't get to see, for example, Sharks versus Pumas. I think that would have been a fantastic game. I think the Pumas are playing some outrageously good rugby at the moment. I think the Sharks are maybe, would have been interesting to sort of see them respond, but obviously we can't play rugby in these circumstances. It's very, very sort of normal. Lots of people reckon that the tour should be cancelled, in lieu of it, which I don't really agree with. I think that, it's such a positive thing to be able to turn on your TV tonight, be able to watch South Africa play rugby, and I think it's exactly what we kind of need at the moment. There's no issue with safety regarding that, so I think that anything that can try and help, lift the spirits of anybody around there should try and go ahead. But we'll have to wait and see what happens in terms of official time and stuff like that. When it does happen, we'll communicate what's going on. We will be live tonight, of course, SAA versus the British and Irish Lions. It's going to be amazing. Really, really looking forward to it. Come hang out and check out what's happening. We'll be live from 7:30. Smash like on the video on this video. Come and subscribe later. Hang out for the match. Come watch this. We're also doing a play rating show. That'll be 11 o'clock tonight after all the various press conferences. We'll have Warren Gatlin's press conference out. We'll have Rasmus's press conference up. Conor Murray will be the players, as well as a couple of other players and stuff that we're going to get to chat to. So we'll have all those up before tomorrow morning. So we've got so much content coming up for you. And then tomorrow we start building into the weekend. A Currie Cup match, some internationals. Obviously the Stormers versus the British and Irish Lions will be the big game, and also potentially a SAA game and Bulls game. So lots to look forward to this weekend. In lieu of Friday, we were doing a watch along. We'll probably go live for a new show, a bit of a catch up, stuff like that. So we'll make sure that we entertain you on Friday one way or another. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you guys soon.